Thanks, Roger. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So before we start, I've got a confession to make. I'm passionate about pensions. Yep, I've said it. Okay. Now, to be fair, I don't expect you, or perhaps even your employees, to share perhaps the same passion that I have. We've all got a bit of things to be doing in our lives. But what is vitally important is that we get the message out to everybody as early as possible, so they can make their own informed decisions about where they are on their retirement journey and what they can do throughout their lifetime to improve those outcomes. And in conjunction with what we've shown you already and what I'm going to show you, I hope we can really drive that forward. So I've only got a few minutes, and I hope my passion does come across in this short time. And what I'm going to talk about today is why I think I'm in a really good place to be able to support you as your main point of contact for running your scheme. We'll look at what underpins the service that your employees will receive when they interact with Aegon, and how we go that little bit further, just to try and make sure that your employees, our customers, feel really valued. We'll look at our member insights tool. So it's a governance tool which not only replays the values of the scheme for you, but also gives you the ability to trigger specific campaigns to your employees about matters that specifically affect them. And then finally, we'll just look at the support that I'll give you and your employees ongoing, so that we can keep in touch on a regular basis, and also with your employees. So let's go. Okay, and again, another apology, there's a picture of me. As you can see, I've worked at Aegon for an awful long time now, pretty much since I was a boy. I'm based in Edinburgh, so I'm really ideally placed to oversee the running of your scheme on your behalf. And that's because that's where all the administration takes place. At high level, I'm your first point of contact, so you don't need to worry about where to go. I'm just in a good place. It's my job to make sure your life is as easy as possible. I work with a number of clients just like you. As Kevin said earlier, you're a large workforce spread over multiple locations. So I've got plenty of experience to understand how we can best work together to make sure your scheme runs well and it continues to be relevant for everyone. And your governance process. I understand you have a quarterly governance process in place, which is great. I love getting involved in that, meeting your people and understand how your company works. And it'd be great to be part of those. And that's where, as you would expect, I'll be able to deliver and demonstrate how your scheme is running, that you've made the right choice in choosing Aegon as your partner. I'll bring you updates to our proposition, so such as those video summaries that Kevin has showed us earlier. And then my favourite bit is getting in front of your workforce. It's bringing proactive ideas of how we can engage with and educate your staff so that they can make their own informed decisions about improving their outcomes at retirement. So the service. As you can see, and as you'd expect, there's obviously lots of different ways employees can contact Aegon: telephony, email, and so forth. But what we're finding is more and more popular is web chat. We get several hundred web chats a day through our office. I think that's just a sign of the times. Younger people, or people that are more tech savvy, are using that as a medium to contact us. As you can see, Kevin referred to this earlier as well, we use Net Promoter Score to measure such things. And you can see, regardless of how they interact with us, the scores are really strong. So you can be assured that when your employees contact Aegon, they're going to get a good experience on the whole. I work beside a colleague called Gary Cooney. Now, he's an expert in payroll and auto-enrollment and our tools that support that. So you can be assured that between us, we'll support your activity on that regard as well. It's not just about that. I touched on earlier about the fact that we want to make sure your employees feel valued. And this is where we've got a team called Aegon Cares. Now that's a team of managers where they make an active effort to contact customers whose perhaps experience hasn't been as high as we would have wanted. So perhaps over the net promoter score, they've been a detractor. So they will actively contact that person to understand the issue, and based on any feedback we get, we can perhaps look to improve our proposition or just turn things around. We find this really, really powerful stuff because whilst the initial experience hasn't been that strong, customers do genuinely find that by us taking time out and making the effort to contact them, it does show that they are valued. And there's a very quick example of that, is that we had a customer recently who contacted us because they wanted to access some of the benefits from their plan. They couldn't do so because they weren't actually old enough, so that person was having a bad experience. It wasn't our fault, but that was the negative experience they got. So the Aegon Cares team, on contacting them, They identified actually in the background that the person owned a dog, so we were able to send them a goodwill gesture of a little doggy hamper. Now, it's a very small gesture, it doesn't cost an awful lot of time and resource, but the feedback we get has all of a sudden gone from a negative experience, turned around into positive, and as I said earlier, it's all about making sure that the customers feel valued and that Aegon do genuinely care about our customers. Okay, so you can be assured that that's in place for us. Now, member insights. Of course, any pension provider you partner with will be able to demonstrate a level of governance or MI for your pension scheme. And of course, we're no different, but I like to think ours goes a few steps further. So at high level, it's an online governance tool. So it will replay the key values of your scheme. So assets under administration, where people are investing, people that have returned a death benefit form, and so on. The next step is it then compares your scheme against all the other thousands of schemes we have on our books, and that allows us to draw out over 30 key insights that affect your employees or could be discussed at governance, because it might be something you wish to do something about. So again, lots of people have stayed in the default fund. Lots of people, perhaps, or a percentage of people, are saving at a level which, based, if they carry that on, at retirement, they'll have an income less than what's deemed a reasonable level based on our industry averages. And the really special bit, you then have the ability to trigger one of 6 targeted emails to your employees who are specifically impacted by that message. Okay, so let's use your scheme as an exact example. We saw earlier you were 38% of people in the young category. The tool will highlight how many of them are deemed to be under saving. You could say, well, I want to do something about that, but we don't want to do a message to the whole scheme. We just want one target to that group. So member insights, we can trigger the review your contributions email, and you have a choice of who it goes to. It can be segmented to either the whole workforce, the people that are under saving, or indeed a couple of other categories, and you trigger that email. Within 2 weeks that goes out, we can tell you how many people have received the email, how many people have opened it, and how many people have then taken an action on the back of that. So it's a really, really powerful tool that allows us to really get stuck into specific points about your scheme and then do something about it. And that will be available to you at no cost, included in your scheme. It's really powerful stuff. Okay. And finally, so this is a little calendar of activity that I like to put in place with all my clients. It's really, really important that we keep in touch, both as our own organisations, but also with your employees. I'd like to think we should be talking once a quarter, either face-to-face, or if it's easier over Skype or over the telephone. You can see we've also put in your quarterly governance processes in place. So that's us talking. So how about your employees? Well, we've put in an employee campaign. So that could be one of our member insights emails. We've got a video presentation. So again, I work very closely with Roger. He's told you all about what he does. So it could be face-to-face, but we've already understood that in your workforce it could be a challenge because you're spread over multiple occasions. So Roger can build something that works best for that, be it a little video, it could be a webinar, little bite-sized presentations. And Roger, I think I'm right in saying we can build transactional stuff as well, can't we? So that if we want to know how to activate your account or how to use the fund switch tools, for example, we can build that for you. So it's about understanding what the right messages are at the right time, and we'll deliver those accordingly for you. And lastly, what I think you would really benefit from is an engagement event. Now this is something that we've been doing a little bit more and more often over the last year or so with our larger clients. This is where myself, Roger, members of our Aegon Assess team and others will come to your workplace and really get to know your staff, get in front of them, and be available for as many people as possible. Let it push on us. So without me telling you about it, let's just watch this video and that will really bring it to life.
That's really useful. I didn't really know much about pensions before. I was really quite naive to it.
Before today, I thought pensions were really scary, complicated.
What's really important about this video, these aren't people from Aegon telling you, what's good. This is employees of clients just like yourselves that have been beneficiaries of us coming to see them, talking about pensions, talking about aspects of retirement planning, and they've felt really valued. And it's, who's the winner here? It's your employees, and it's you, because you are putting that pension in place. It's a really valuable proposition, and your employees are now feeling better because of stuff that you've put in place for them. Really, really powerful stuff, and as you, I get quite excited by it. This is really my passion, getting in front of your employees. So we'd love to come and see you do something like that. And finally, just like the others, you know, don't just take our word for it. We've got testimonials, so we can let you speak to clients in place that can help you understand how we support them